set up a prize on garden cities for one very simple reason. We have a housing crisis in Britain. That housing crisis is, on the one hand, an enormous economic opportunity. If we can build more houses, it would hugely stimulate our economy. But on the other hand, it is also the solution to a huge social problem. And the social problem is that far too many people can't afford to buy a home. We're having young people locked out of the communities in which they grew up. We're having people who live outside London being locked outside London. And so what's happening is that house prices are basically beginning to separate society. They're separating young from old, north from south, rich from poor, and that's extremely dangerous. I think the first thing to say is I've been immensely impressed with the amount of work that people have done and the number of ideas that have come out that are innovative and creative. Lots of different ideas. I don't want to speak in such a way as to seem to prefer one over the other, but we had one idea which was very much built around extending and greening an existing city. Other idea of building a cluster of cities in an arc from Felixstowe to Southampton, sort of via Cambridge and Oxford. Another idea to build a specific city from shelter in the Hoo Peninsula. So very different entries. What's interesting is one thing that they all have in common is the understanding that we have to begin to unlock the planning game and invest it not in rewarding a few lucky landowners, but invest it in the community that is being built. And that means better quality homes at more affordable prices. It means investment in proper infrastructure, schools, hospitals, railway stations, innovative transport networks, all the things that people want from their community. Those things can be paid for through the uplift in the land value, which comes from a very simple signing of a planning piece of paper. What is interesting is that garden cities are far more popular than people think. So if you talk to a lot of our politicians, they will assume, sort of knee-jerk responses that, oh, well, people hate development. Actually, that's not true. We've done very extensive polling. 74% of people like the idea of garden cities. About the same number thinks that garden cities are a good solution to our housing crisis. Only 13% of the people in this country are against the building of new garden cities. The trouble is, we live in a funny country. We're like that. You know, people will protest very, very loudly, but very quietly agree. And so that 13% that is objecting is extremely vocal, but actually they're a minority. And if politicians can follow their instincts and attack this as a national problem and attack it with integrity, actually they'll find the majority of people are on their side, but they won't hear that. Okay, my aim is very simple for this prize, and that is that a real city is built within the next 20 years as a result of this prize.